PS2MANYGAMES.
Welcome back to another episode of PS2MANYGAMES, part 2 of the cross-country adventure, if you will. This is probably the most city one of all, Ipswich. I believe Ipswich is a city. It could still be a town, but I think the last 3 years it officially became a city. We'll find out. David can obviously put it underneath if need be. Ipswich was surprisingly good, and you'll see what I mean in the video because you'll see the footage, but we ended up with 4 different places. 2 of them turned out fantastic. One of them turned out pretty awful, and one of them I didn't really like, but I did pick a few games up from there. You'll see what I mean. But anyway, we'll go to the footage. So as you see in the footage, we went to quite a few places. We're going to do in a random order this time, so let's get the first one out of the way. Cash converters. I did look in there. They had nothing. Interesting note, because they've changed their strategy for cash converters. They're trying to get rid of all these shovelware games from the old consoles. Seeing like PS2 game bundles like 6 for £6 is a bit weird. Problem is, obviously, they're all the games that aren't worth £1 each. They're all the Tiger Woods 2005. Basically, are practically worthless. So as you can imagine, I passed on that. As you see, trying to do some filming for cash converters, my enemy turned up again. Buses. When you're trying to film on location, buses are the biggest pain in the ass. Obviously, it's one of those things you've got to deal with. Well, not one, not two, but 3 back-to-back while I'm filming. Obviously, I didn't see him coming because I was focusing, but I was losing my ragged because there was like 4 times I was filming when a bus is like, here comes a bus. It's like, the perils of filming. Anyway, so cash converters was a bit of a dud. One of the 2 places I really wanted to go to in Ipswich was Retro Realm. For those who don't know, Retro Realm is a very, very small retro gaming and collectibles. I wouldn't call it let's call it a shop, because it's basically like a small cube. I'm gonna put this. It's not even as big as my room here. It's maybe 7 foot by 7 foot across. So it's basically like a cube. Anyway, the owner, who's a nice gentleman. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm sorry, my friend. He packed literally as much games and collectibles in this small cube as he possibly can. He's doing well. He's going to open up a new store with a bigger store. As you can imagine, he had a lot of PS2 games, as you can see in the footage. Also, we couldn't get anything for Dan PS1 like platinum-wise because he had everything. Unbelievably, out of all the PS2 games he had, there's only one I actually needed. And it's not what I call a game that I was like really searching for, but it's a game I did need. It's cute, it's cuddly, it's Dogs with a Z. As you can see right there, I paid £4 for this. I am insisting Dave finds footage of the dogs with a Z. Obviously, there is a version. There is cats with a Z. I did not realise there was a PS2 version of these games, because I remember on like the Nintendo DS, like the take care of your own like virtual dog, virtual cat. I never realised it was a PS2 version. Curiously enough, if you noticed, British, Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian flags on the front there. So I'm assuming it was only in certain countries this was released. It does read in English, and on the back obviously read English, Danish, Finnish, Norwegian. So yeah, a bit of a weird one. I mean, it's literally made by Ubisoft and Ukes. For those who don't know who Ukes are, Ukes made a lot of the reasonably good WWE wrestling games in like the mid-2000s. I think they made Here Comes the Pain, which is probably still the best one to date. Fight me on that one. Not including the N64 ones. The N64 games, wrestling games, feel fantastic. But yeah, I only picked one game, but it's a game I needed, so it was totally worth it. If you want to actually search out Retro Realm in Ipswich, it's very easy to find. For any like collectors, it is a perfect place to find items you didn't actually have. Also, there are a lot of good quality rare items there that are in the cabinets, you'll see. So if I had a lot of money, I would have bought a lot more things. We'll go with that one. So next was Ipswich CEX. Good win and bad win Ipswich CEX. We'll go through it gradually. We did pick up 5 games while we were there. A couple of strange things. As you know, most CEX stores, like the front windows, have got covered in like rare items they're trying to obviously sell. Obviously, the rare is the rare they're trying to push. Ipswich has like one window where it's like, and you come to the other side, the door's in the middle. The other side, completely clear pane glass window, and there's nothing in it. So you can literally just look in the window and see everyone inside the store, clear as day. I found that a bit creepy, like really creepy. There's nothing worse than someone that's like looking through a window, just like, what's he doing over there? Yes. And for that reason, every time when I walked in there, I felt a bit, not nervous, a bit slightly creeped out. Yeah, slightly creeped out because there's people outside just looking for the window, like just looking at they could be looking at me for I know. They're probably looking at Dan because he's mildly popular. Yeah, probably. But luckily for me, the PS2 section was downstairs in the Ipswich CEX basement, if you will, which is weird because it was beautiful because it was quiet, open spaced, air conditioning. So I was like, thumbs up for that one. But yeah, I don't know if I got the footage, but the PS2 section was like in the darkest corner, like hidden around the corner. It was weird, and yet again satisfying to be just like in your own corners, being left alone. The Ipswich CX staff, some of them were generally nice people. Some of them seemed like they didn't want to be there. Everyone has bad days, so that could have been just a bad day for some people. But out of all the CXs I've been to, it's I'll use a word the youngsters use. It's mid. It's pretty mid. it's mid. So yeah. Also, of note, there was a PS1 game in their cabinet, incredibly expensive game, Trombone. For those who know what Trombone is, Trombone originally was a character in one of the Mega Man games on the PlayStation. I think it's Mega Man Legends. Anyway, Trombone got her own game, and I think that game legit, you had to pay at least $250 at any CEX these days. Utterly insane. So why am I mentioning this Trombone game in Ipswich CEX? While we were there, Dan did some trading in because he had some, and there was a couple of things they didn't want to take. And to be honest, the quality of what we traded in was very good. So I was stunned that they have such high standards in Ipswich, to the point where 2 days later, a completely random person on the CEX Facebook group actually bought that Trombone game, took it home, and apparently it was in terrible condition. So I suppose it depends on what you're trading in, by how much it's worth, because Dan's version of one of the Batman films was not good enough, but this terrible Trombone game apparently was good enough to have. So there's that. Ironically, by the way, Dan did trade that same couple of things in a different CEX later on the day. Hilarious. Anyway, so yeah. So like Great Yarmouth and like Norwich, they try to go for high standards with certain things, but like all CEXs, it all depends on who's serving you. Pretty much. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. We need to get to the games. So the first of 5 games from CEX Ipswich. First one's a platinum version. 007 Quantum of Solace. Once again, obviously I needed this. I have never actually played this. I was shocked to find that Quantum of Solace was a PS2 game. We might have to Google to find out when that came out, but it must have been very late PS2. We're talking about like after 2010 maybe. For those of you who don't remember, Quantum of Solace was the bad Daniel Craig film. It was mediocre. Thank God Skyfall brought it back, because MGM was very close to going out of business, and this would have been their last film. And that would have been horrific to go out on. So that's another one for the Platinum list, which obviously I'm very happy about. Game number 2 from Ipswich CEX was Off-Road Wide Open. Now, I don't know if it's got anything to do with the other off-road game I got from a charity shop many months ago. But to be honest, it's one of those games where I needed it. I'm probably never going to try it. And from the art alone and the what it says on the back, I'm not impressed. Apparently they've got 16 tracks. A whole 16 tracks. Damn! Brace yourself! Now, in all seriousness, I'm not going to play this. This was pretty much for the collection. Had to get it, so no, it's not a win. It's just it's not a win. It's kind of like a taking part. Like on the National Lottery when you get a lucky dip. You haven't won. You're just taking part in the next one again. They're just delaying the inevitable loss of money. Game number 3, London Racer World Challenge. Now, I think this is the final London Racer game I needed, because there's about 4 or 5 of them. So I'm actually kind of happy to get this. I'm going to have to try that franchise, because getting 5 games on the PS2, there must have been something to it, because people must have bought them. And none of them are what you would call standout features. But they seem to sell quite well, because they made 5 games, and they must have made profit in every game. But more power to you. I will try one of these. Probably the police one. I don't know. I've got to try one. So that's kind of, that's a win. That's a mini win. Only £1, so I can't really lose much on £1, apart from a whole £1. Game number 4, Stolen. Now, this is one of those games with a generic title until you actually see it. You don't know what it's all about. I'm actually kind of intrigued. All I know is the lead protagonist, I'm assuming this lady right here, is called Anya. Yeah, apparently she's a thief. So your protagonist is a thief. I'm intrigued. I'm going to try this. I'm assuming the footage we're going to find is going to be actually decent. But yeah, I'm going to try this. As again, it's not another game was like I needed it. It's nothing special. We're now getting to that point where I need to find them. Like I need to get to the point where I need to start finding like a lot of these generic games. Side note, I've been doing this for 2 years. YouTube for about 4 or 5 months. It is hilarious that some of these like £1 games I have not found in 2 years. Like for instance, London Race of Madness only worth £1, but it took me 2 years to find that. I wasn't looking for that specifically, but it took 2 years to find that game. It's kind of funny how life works sometimes, where some of the real crap games take ages to find. And yet I could probably, if I really wanted to, go on eBay, pay about $4.50 for a mid-ranged Rule of Rose, and call it a day. I'm not going to do that though. I'm gonna find a good quality version of that if I'm going to pay a lot of money for. Game number 5 and the last from CEX Ipswich, and probably the only one I was actually very happy to buy. The original Beautiful Joe. As you know, I got the second one. This is the first one. To be perfectly honest, probably the better version is on the GameCube. Probably, I don't know. But now I've got the first one. I'm actually going to play this because there's only 2 of them. I don't think there's a third one. And it's one of those Capcom games that they probably could have made more, but they got sidetracked with more Devil May Cry probably because they did yeah. You know what I mean? Devil May Cry got like 3 or 4 games. It's only got 2. This probably could have got a little more love. It's still a good game. £8 for that game, so that's about right. So synopsis of Ipswich CEX. Would I go back there in a heartbeat? Probably not. Is it weird? That is correct. Did I spend much of there? As you can see, I've barely spent about £20, maybe less than that in CEX Ipswich. I will say one thing though, and you might see in the video, there was Persona 3 FES version in the background. It's £95. I was tempted once again. I don't know how to get that game. But that's one of the strange ones, because it's £95, but it's not like super rare. I've seen multiple copies of that, like different places. Unlike 10,000 Bullets, which I continue not to find, I will find that game. You know what's going to be fun? I'm probably going to find that game. I'm probably going to play it. It's probably going to be utterly awful. So time for the last store, and probably the best store of the day. Not the day, best store of Ipswich. By far. And that is Cash Exchange. Hilariously, Cash Exchange is only 4 doors down from CEX. And also, they probably had, for me personally, better choice of games, but a better choice of everything. As you see in the video, you can literally buy any kind of electronics from Cash Exchange. It is pretty much a PAWN pawn shop, but like a really cool one. It reminds me of Cash Converters, but it's better in every way, because they had some seriously rare stuff in there. See in the cabinet, probably the coolest thing by far, the fully boxed Lego Atari 2600, and that looked like it hadn't been touched. If I was a crazy millionaire, I would have bought that like you would not believe. But you can see they had a lot of like consoles, boxed games in there, GameCube. They had a lot of stuff, and you might see in the rack they had a lot of PS2 games. As you can imagine, I looked for the like platinum ones to see if there's anything there, but there wasn't. I couldn't get much. I think Dan got a few things from there, I can't remember. But by far the best store of the Ipswich, if you will. Best store of Ipswich. It's so much like nicer and cleaner than CEX 4 doors down. Anyway, I got 2 games there, and one slight, I won't say special, but one slightly unique. So the first game, Platinum, Jack Free. As you can see from their gigantic stickers, I paid £3. I mean, look at the size of that sticker! It's like, I'm assuming this comes off clean. I'm hoping it comes off clean, unlike the CX sticker where it's like on there for days. As once again, very happy to get another one off the list. I did very well on Platinums this day. I did very well on Platinums. I didn't get any more Platinums the rest of the day, but that was, what, 5 or 6 in one day? Which is fantastic. You'll see, obviously, when I'll update the board later. Obviously, I'm not going to go through Jack 3. I remember Jack 3 before. But probably the best pickup in Ipswich by far. And this is kind of hilarious, because I originally owned this, but I think I traded it in like 2 years ago, because we got money. Need for Speed Carbon Collector's Edition. And as you see, with the giant sticker, I paid a £68 for this, which is exactly how much it cost in CEX. This is getting rare to find. It's only the second time I've seen this since I sold my version 2 years ago, before I started collecting. So, I don't know what's super different about this. I think you might get 3 extra cars. Everyone knows my thoughts on Carbon. Carbon's obviously it's like Underground, Underground 2, Most Wanted, Carbon. Starts going downhill from there for Need for Speed. Then we start hitting Pro Street and Undercover. Jesus Christ. Obviously, that's because the PS2 was coming in its life for Need for Speed, but that was the zenith for me for Need for Speed games, and it always will be the zenith. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old and I'm stuck in my ways, but Carbon plays well, but it's just not as good as Most Wanted or Underground 2, and the story's kind of crap. It's kind of crap. Considering it followed Most Wanted, which probably had like, probably the best story out of the Need for Speed games, because Underground 2 didn't really have much of a story, because it was just all about the pumping the car. Oh, that was lame. So yeah, that one, I was very happy to get that. So that will go to the sorry, back here. So so overall, Ipswich was a decent place to get games in. Maybe it's just bad luck because I didn't get like anything super rare. Still, considering it was like the mid part of my cross country trip with Dan, still I thought it was worth it. It was worth it. Anyway, as you can see, we're now at 1, 2, 3, 8 for the normal games and 92 for the platinum games. When we get to that like halfway for platinum games, I'll be very happy because we're getting close. Obviously, we need about another 13 to hit that halfway mark. Obviously, we're over halfway for the normal games. At what point do I genuinely think I'm going to start struggling to find like more like 5 games at a time? I'm hoping when we get to like the 15, 1600 like points, I'm still going to be able to find games willy-nilly. Because obviously, every like trip I've been on, I found stuff I needed. I haven't got to the point yet where I've been somewhere that's, you know what I mean. I don't want to go like the King's Lynn, which is now like an hour away from where I live, come back with sod all. That would be a colossal pisser. And side note, one of my friends said I use the phrase colossal pisser quite a lot. They're right, I do. I like that phrase. I like that film. So obviously the part 3 will be coming up very shortly after this. Then by the time part 3 comes out, I would have probably already been to the Norwich gaming market, which is happening as of this recording this Sunday. So 25th. That's going to be a long day. I'm going to be quite busy all day. I can't go into what I'm doing in the evening, but we'll see how it turns out. Simply put, between Norwich gaming market and the week after I'm going to watch the wrestling, quite busy time in my life at the moment. In a good way, between work, out, like home life, and this hobby. Fun times being had here. Only very small side notes. It's not really something I'm planning to do, but I'm currently playing through the Metal Slug Anthology, which is Metal Slug 1 to 6, and I didn't realise until I'm playing them from like back to back how like nothing has changed massively. From the first game in '96 to like mid 2006, every game had like the same graphics, same font, slight different like adjustable like play like dynamics, but it's pretty much the same game with like little upgrades. It's kind of impressive that Neo Geo / SNK managed to get this franchise stretched out so far with basically the same generic premise. You got a gun, and you're gonna shoot everything in your way. So I've been playing that, so I don't know what I'm gonna play next, because obviously I've got a lot to choose from. Any suggestions? Obviously, there's some. I'm not looking for like mainline titles, you know, the ones that sold really well. Any like obscure games? Like RPGs, I'm looking to play like an RPG. Any like mainline RPGs you can suggest? To be fair, because I have played quite a few. I really have, but there might be some I missed. Because obviously I'm missing Scorn of Sorcery on the top 10 launch titles. That was a very good RPG, but obviously I played that before. Persona 3, obviously a very good RPG. I played that before. I haven't played Persona 4 yet. I might try that. It's got to be half decent, I'm hoping. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Thank you for watching this episode. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Like always, I do reply to every comment. Obviously, in summertime, I would like to do car boots, but between work and other things, getting up super early on certain days actually is kind of hard. It really is. Not like physically, like I can't be bothered, like I've got things to do kind of hard. So I'm going to try and get to a car boot sooner rather than later because I want to see what my luck's like at car boots. Can't be any worse than my luck at charity shops at the moment. It ain't great at the moment. I mean, I've had like 3 games from charity shops in the last 6 months. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of the day. Salutations, if you will. Bye. Where the f*** did I put those 2 games?